वो रिकॉर्ड भी हो रहा है जी, तो चुप रहना पड़ेगा.
Okay. IDs, everyone. Thank you. We're gonna start at 5:10. We're gonna start at 5:10 once other people join. थोड़ा time margin देता उनको. And then, in the meantime, IDs वगैरह डाल दो chat में. Full नाम और ID. Yes, thank you. Okay. अगर माइक वाइक खोलना तो खोल लेना यार, चिल सी में नींद आ रही है.
कंपटीशन कैसा गया?
अच्छा था यार, आसान तो नहीं था, खैर एक दो क्वेश्चन थे लेकिन इट वेंट वेल.
क्या इज इट लाइक स्पेलिंग बी और व्हाट?
नहीं, एक स्पेलिंग का होता है, 2-3 क्वेश्चंस होते हैं स्पेलिंग के, लेकिन इट्स मोर लाइक थोड़े से मेटाफोर्स आते हैं, थोड़ी सी कॉम्प्रिहेंशन आती है अजीब सी.
एक्सप्लेनेशन वगैरह करनी होती है या
नहीं
क्या?
नहीं नहीं, सारे एमसीक्यूज होते हैं सर.
ओह
30 एमसीक्यूज होते हैं घंटे को, मेरे मतलब 20 मिनट में हो गए थे समझ लो.
पार्टी सीन भी. क्या अगर तुम इन लोगों के साथ वेरिएंट कर रहे हो, मैं तुम्हें एक चीज डीएम में भेजूंगा, फिर वही डिस्कस कर लेंगे लेटर ऑन.
सही है. Okay, I
मेरे
don't
साथ लिख
think
देना,
और
बस
लोग
सूडो
आ
कोड
रहे
लिख
हैं.
देना. सही है, मेरे साथ सिर्फ सूडो कोड लिख देना बस.
हाँ, फन रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है. The session is being recorded. Okay. चलो शुरू कर देते हैं यार, किसका इंतजार करेंगे, जो आना तो आ गया. चलो. एक सेकेंड. यार मैक लेना ही पड़ेगा अब तो. चलो. Okay. This is the paper we're gonna do. It's the summer 18 variant 21. Should be. Yes, it is. Okay. A program stores data about hospital patients. Give a suitable identifier name for each of the data items. ये तो बहुत आसान है, तो आप लोग भी कर सकते हो जल्दी से. Suggestions दो मुझे chat में. Yes, you can do that. Patient underscore temp. Perfectly well. थोड़ा मोटा marker. Next one. इसके बाद room temp. सही है. Room temp and patient ID. सही है. And nurse name. ये भी सही है. You know, just for the sake of it, I'm gonna not capitalize the first character क्योंकि फिर ये camel case, ये this is camel case and it's a good programming practice, so you can, तुम लोग बस ये देख लो कि it's generally a good programming practice to use like camel, या तो camel name इस्तेमाल करो, यहाँ पे ये जैसे हमने room temp underscore के साथ किया है वो कर लो. Okay, thank you Rida and Omar. So yeah, program variables have values as follows. My greeting, initial age and years. Say, evaluate each expression of the following error for the built-in functions appendix. Appendix तो तुम लोग अपनी साइड से खोल लो, मैं भी खोल लेता हूँ because I can't show multiple screens at once. So I'll open appendix on my end. So yeah. Mon and so okay, so the start of our string is mon. ये मैं लिख देता हूँ यहाँ पे. And mid, so the mid function, meaning के यहाँ से शुरू करेंगे, character number 10 से शुरू करेंगे दो कैरेक्टर्स लेंगे from the string my greeting. Okay, so this is my greeting, ये वाली string. अब इससे शुरू करते हैं 1 2 3 4 5 space is a character 6 7 8 9 10. तो हम T से शुरू कर रहे हैं और हमें दो कैरेक्टर्स चाहिए तो हम T और H उठा लेंगे and we'll concatenate it to MON. So it becomes MONTH. So yes, बोला.
हाँ मैं कह रहा हूँ कि ये अपेंडिक्स हमें पीयू में गिवन होगा या वी नीड टू करे याद करना.
वो तो ये देखो फाइल मतलब पेपर के बिल्कुल आखिर में कहाँ गया, ये रहा.
अच्छा गिवन होता है ना.
हाँ.
ओके थैंक्स.
नो प्रॉब्लम. ओके सही है. ये हो गया पहला वाला. एज इन years plus the when you apply the ASCII function of my initial. So when we get the value of my initial in ASCII, the ASCII code, my initial, so it's C. It's the character C. And मैंने तो याद करके रखा हुआ है. You guys should do it as well. कि capital A is 65. So yeah, the decimal value is 65 for capital A. इससे क्या होता है? It makes it easier. और usually जो आता है, अगर like it's the first 4 or 5 or 6 characters in like A B C D E F, इस तरह का होता है तो they don't give you the ASCII value. They expect that you remember the capital value, sorry, the value of capital A, और उसके हिसाब से you can count from there. वरना लेकिन अगर R S T आखिर में like उस मतलब जगह पे होता है whereas the near the end of the alphabet, तो usually they do give ASCII values. तो यहाँ पे 65 है तो C जो होगा 67 होगा. तो age in years is 27 plus 67. 20 plus 6 is 80, 94. सही है. Integer, oh अच्छा हाँ सही है. Integer my initial. अब integer function क्या होता है? Integer function, I'll look at the appendix and read this. It returns the integer part of x. So what it does, it takes it takes a real number as a parameter. यहाँ पे हम क्या pass कर रहे हैं? A character. तो यहाँ पे आएगा error because this is an incorrect parameter. ये है of type char, लेकिन हमें चाहिए of type real चाहिए. सही, ये वाला हो गया. mod function. अच्छा अभी इसको थोड़ा इग्नोर कर लेते हैं और ये कैलकुलेट कर लेते हैं. weight times 2. weight is 60.5 times 2 becomes 121. सही है. तो 121 ये हमारे पास यहाँ पे आ गया. And it says mod by 10. So divide this number which you have. अच्छा लेता मैं ये चारों मतलब पांचों खत्म कर लेता हूँ and then I'll go back to the first one. This 121 number that you have, you divide it by the number that they gave you. So 10 यहाँ पे. And then when you divide this by 10, हमें remainder क्या मिलता है? Remainder मिलता है 1. So answer should be 1. I'm gonna ये सारा हटा देता हूँ. And married and not children. So children here is a boolean. True. So here it's true, and you can basically write this as not true. And married is also true, so you can write this as true. True and not true. So basically the same thing as true and false. And true and false gives you a false value, because for an AND function to return a true value, both conditions must be true. So this is false. Overall, it's a false expression. ब्रदर ने बोला था कि let's do the mid one again. तो mid one इस तरह से होगा. इन्होंने हमें पहली एक string दी है और एक दूसरी string दी होगी जो हमें mid apply करके मिलेगी. अभी हम निकालते नहीं है, let's not worry about that. Let's पहले हम देख लिए कि concatenation हो रही है. तो this is the start of the string. तो हम ये लिख लेते हैं MON क्योंकि string इससे शुरू होगी, ये पक्का पता है. ये हटा दिया. अब mid evaluate करते हैं. I'll erase this. अब mid evaluate करते हैं तो the mid function takes 3 inputs या parameters. So ये एक वो लेता है the string on which this function is to be performed. So ये मैं actually ये भी erase करता हूँ. the string on which the function is to be performed, the number, like the character number or the character index from which you start counting, and the number of characters that you pull from the string. That's how I think of it. I think of it like extracting characters from the string. You have to add the quotation marks anyway. Yes, you do. I forgot to. Good. Thank you for pointing that out. I'll add them when I write it this once. We do, because it's a string variable kind of thing. So yeah, so this mid function is gonna we're gonna look at the my greeting string, which is happy birthday with a space between happy and birthday. We're gonna find character 10. So HAPPY, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters. Space is a 6th character. 7, 8, 9, 10. So our 10th character is T. So we start counting from T and we count 2 characters. So T and H. And those are the characters that we're gonna extract from this string. And when we do, we're gonna concatenate them to the string that they gave us. We're just gonna add it right here. And when we write it in our answer, this is what we're gonna write. Does that clarify it for you, Rida? All right, nice. Okay. ये तो बहुत आसान है. ये you guys can answer this. My greeting का क्या होगा? I'll start writing. That's right. It's going to be a string. My initial, I'll show you the data. My initial, char. सही है. Age in years, अब तो तुम्हें याद होगा, लेकिन I'll show you anyways. Age in years, ये रहा. Integer, yes, integer. Weight, 60.5. Real. And married, मैं लिख देता हूँ. Boolean. So yeah, that was the easy part of this paper. अब मैं इसको portrait mode में कर रहा हूँ, so we can see the entire thing at once. Okay. The following is a function design in pseudocode. Line numbers are given for reference only. I'm not going to read this entire function. तुम लोग पढ़ लो. A part 1. The pseudocode includes features that make it easier to read and understand. State for such features. सही है. एक तो यहाँ पे कोई comment नहीं है. Well, that's not right. That usually the first feature I write is comments. So yep, that's right. Indentation is an answer. ये बहुत छोटा हो रहा. Indentation. Okay, that's one. White space. That's a second one. Meaningful variable name. So yeah. All right, identifier, because that's what CIE likes to call it sometimes. Or चौथा. चौथा. Okay, I'll just write it myself. It's capitalization of keywords. Because the capitalization makes them stand out from like normal variable names and stuff, and that makes it easier to read. So capitalization of keywords. और मैंने ये शुरू में mention कर देता यहाँ पे comments नहीं है. So this is going to be the one feature that could be added to make the pseudocode easier to understand. So yeah, study the function string clean. अच्छा function पढ़ना पड़ेगा. Okay, identify the features of the function in the following table. A line number containing an example of an assignment statement. बताओ. It's pretty easy. I'm gonna write 0, 8. A line number containing the start of repetition block. बताओ. Did you mean to write 10, Taki? Okay. Yep, 10. And the end of a repetition block, I'll do this myself. This is the start of the for block. This is the end of the for block, so it's 23. The end of a repetition block, a line number containing the start of a selection statement. ये तुम लोग बताओ. Start of a selection statement. 15, that's right. ये 15 हो गया. The number of parameters of the mid function, ये मैं बता देता हूँ. Mid कहाँ पर है? ये रहा. 1, 2, 3 parameters. सही है. The boolean operator used, ये तुम लोग बताओ. Oops. Yep. And the number of local variables, ये इसका आसान तरीका है. You just look at these. जो भी function के अंदर declare हो रहा है, that's a local variable. सही है, तो that is easy. यहाँ पे 4. The function calls string clean me. Okay, ये हम करते हैं साथ, because we're gonna do it step by step. Let's say out string is blank. मैं basically dry run करूँ, लेकिन थोड़ा तेज. I'm just gonna tally whenever a function is used. अच्छा, हमारे पास क्या था? ये था string clean me. So this in string is equal to me. Out string is empty. For counter 1 to length. एक function तो यहाँ पे हो गया. Length वाला function हमने call किया. I'll just number it once. और हमने length वाला function call किया. हमारे पास आंसर आया 2. हमने इसको replace कर दिया 2 के साथ. सही है. इसके बाद हम for loop में गए. Next char is mid in, तो ये एक और function हो गया. This is our second function. उसके बाद ये तीसरा function. And let's see. मैं ये पूरा dry run कर सकता हूँ. I could check conditions and everything, लेकिन I don't need to क्योंकि इसके अंदर कोई function नहीं है. So I'm just gonna skip this entire thing. I'm gonna go to this N4 statement and go back to for. ये हमने replace किया हुआ है, so we're not gonna call this function again. सही है. We're gonna move back into the loop and we're gonna call this a fourth, like this is going to be our fourth function call, and this is going to be our fifth function call, and ये हम सिर्फ 2 बार कर देते, so I'm going to skip past all this again, go straight to N4, and this time we don't go back to the top, we return. So हमने total में 5 times किया. Okay, 5. So 5. The number of a line containing an unnecessary statement. Okay, ढूंढते हैं, चलो. Let's see if you guys can find it before me. Yep, because we do not use the variable myString at all. So that is why it is an unnecessary statement. Oops. All right, so that's that. Flowchart banana. Acha. In a chemical factory procedure, check sensor is required to allocate an operator to monitor the temperature in different locations. 10 sensor hai. Her sensor key ID है 1 to 10, so integer value. The procedure check sensor will compare the measured temperature against each of the 2 constant values, low temp and high temp. सही है. और ये इसके सारे वो हैं outputs और मतलब या procedure call. So yeah, a library function get temp returns the temperature value from a given sensor. एक second. The structure in English is okay. So हम बस ये follow करेंगे तो हो जाएगा flowchart आराम से. तो शुरू करते हैं. Our flowchart starts with a start block. Perfect होना चाहिए. Yes, pretty diagrams. Prompt the input of a sensor ID, तो हम meaningful prompt करते हैं, so we'll do an output and an input. Output, enter sensor ID. I don't, अच्छा, एक second. If anyone entered later, जो मैंने notice नहीं किया, and you didn't put your ID and stuff in the chat, your full name and ID, please do so. मुझे अभी याद आया. Okay. Enter sensor ID. So yeah. And sure, or input, let's just call it the same thing. So input sensor ID, and when we make flowcharts, the input output block is a parallelogram. And don't remember to draw your flow arrows. It has to be flow, they're called flow lines, but make sure कि कुछ बच्चे क्या कहते हैं, they draw a line and they forget it. But it has to be an arrow. So you have to remember the arrowhead. So yeah, so हमने ये कर लिया. Input a sensor ID, हमने ये भी कर लिया. If the sensor ID is invalid, repeat from step 1. तो sensor ID invalid कैसे होगी? उन्होंने खैर बोला कि 1 to 10 होना चाहिए. So any number out of that range is going to be an invalid entry. So yeah, so we will use like a simple like question answer kind of thing. One second. Okay, so is what we called it sensor ID greater than equal to 1 and less than equal to 10. That is the range. It's going to be a bit of an awkward diamond. We'll make it work. So yeah. And agar aata hai, if this is it, agar ye yes hai, so you know, continue with your program. But if it is no, then we're gonna go back here. And this is gonna be a no thing. So if the sensor ID is not within this range, then go back and take input again. So yellow ho gaya, validation bhi ho gayi. Call the get temp function with the, okay, call the get temp function with the sensor ID as the parameter to obtain the relevant temperature. Okay, देखो, this, I don't know if this is an old thing or not, कि मतलब ये पहले होता था in the syllabus and now it's not, क्योंकि सर जैन ने अभी तक तो हमें नहीं कराया उसमें in our syllabus. लेकिन जो like when I looked at the mark schemes of like 2017 2018 papers, तो उसमें whenever we call a function in a flowchart or procedure या procedure या function जब भी call करते हैं, तो we use like a box in a box kind of thing. जैसे इस तरह होता है, मैं तो दिखाता हूँ तुम लोग को कि it's like this. All the mark schemes I've checked for like these kinds of questions. So I don't know if this is a thing or not. It's still a thing or not, because Sir Zan hasn't discussed it. So if you guys are conflicted about this, Sir Zan se pooch lena. Yeah, your CS teacher. So right now I'm gonna follow the marking scheme to be on the safe side. So this instruction was call the get temp function, so here with the sensor ID as a parameter to obtain the relevant temperature. So wait, ये हटा थोड़ी close edge पे कर देता हूँ. To obtain the relevant temperature, I'm going to store in a value called temp, and the function is called get temp, and वो लिखा हुआ है पहले से, so we don't need to worry about how it works. We just need to pass in the parameter. ये जगह नहीं बचेगी. Sensor ID as a parameter. So ये हमने temp में store कर ली value. अब बात आती है compare the temperature against two constant values and take the appropriate action. सही है. अगर below temp, within range या above range. सही है. तो ये तीन conditions हम check करते हैं. Is temp less than equal to, actually less than होना चाहिए, less than low temp. मैं इसको इस तरह कर देता हूँ, इसके डायमंड में बनाना होगा इसको, तो दैट्स व्हाई. So this is asking कि जो लो टेम्प वाला ग्लोबल वेरिएबल उन लोग ने दिया हुआ है, हमें जो टेम्परेचर मिला है, is it lower than that or not? If it is yes, समझो है below range है, तो हम क्या करेंगे, output code. Sure, let's do that. Output sorry, output code. और अभी हम उसको आगे वाला एरोस को बाद में देख लेंगे. If it's not below temp, well, is it above the acceptable temperature? Is temp greater than, क्या था, what was it called, high temp? Yep. Is it greater than high temp? Then we have to call procedure alarm. Okay, we'll do that again with the box in a box thing. Yes, अगर है तो call the procedure. What was it? Okay, we call procedure like this. Call alarm. It doesn't take any parameters. And that. and इसका हम बाद वाला एरो, मतलब आगे वाला एरो, वो भी बाद में देख लेंगे. But if it is not above or below, मतलब it's not above range and it's not below range, so it must be within range. So in that case we'll output normal. So अगर यहाँ पे भी no है और यहाँ पे भी no है, तो we will simply output normal. और इसके आगे the program doesn't give us any specifics, that it doesn't tell us that we have to do anything afterwards, because this was the last instruction. And take the appropriate action. हमने तीनों चीजें output कर ली, so that is the appropriate action. So actually मैं end बिल्कुल यहाँ पे बना देता हूँ. तो ये appropriate action के बाद this and this joins it with that. ये हो गया आपका flow chart. सही है? All right. A structure chart I haven't done yet in class. तुम लोगों ने कर लिया होगा probably. आज की क्लास में किया होगा शायद. I think मेरी recording देखी नहीं है. But this I'm not gonna do right now. I'm ये भी नहीं कर रहा because it's also structure chart. I'm gonna skip all this. यहाँ पे आ जाते हैं. A golf club holds information about its members. When a member completes a round of golf, their score is okay. ये कोई मुझे बता सकता है? ये थोड़ा आसान है, पता होना चाहिए सबको. I'm waiting for your answers in the chat. अगर ये मेरी मीटिंग खत्म हो जाती है like before I finish this paper, तो just rejoin. हम खत्म करके ही फिर मीटिंग खत्म करेंगे. Okay. Okay, कोई आंसर नहीं आया अभी तक, so I'll just answer it myself. Okay. ये इसलिए देखो, the club stores data in a file rather than an array, इसलिए because data in a file isn't lost जब when the program stops running, right? Like इसमें program क्या है, when a member completes a round of golf, their score is stored along with their membership number. So this program isn't going to be running all the time. एक तो मतलब, like for example, if the golf club closes at night, it's not going to keep the program running just for the sake of being able to retain data. So it's gonna have to close its program. तो जब भी कोई program close होता है, any value उसकी जो variable में होती है, it's lost. And we don't want that. We want to retain that data that we collected in the course of the day. So that's why we store it in a file. तो हम ये लिख देते हैं इसमें वाले को storage है. This is because data in an array is deleted deleted when the program stops running, and the program दूसरी line में लिखा था, program stops running while a file retains data permanently. So yeah, editing functions such as code copy and paste are features provided by an IDE. Give two additional features that are helpful. एक तो मैं देता हूँ auto completion. जब आप code लिख रहे होते हैं, it suggests some code depending on what the context is. And if you press tab, तो पूरा auto complete लिख लेता है. And you don't need to worry about writing it all out. ये भी होता है कि कभी अगर कोई file का specific path होता है, like document / new folder / something, ये पूरा आपको लिखने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती. You just type in the first few characters and press tab, and it does that. और दूसरा is syntax highlighting. ये वो होता है कि when it color codes the code that you write, depending on what it is, like if you introduce a function, it's gonna give it like a blue color, and if you declare a variable, it's gonna give it a pink color, stuff like that. So yeah, so that's two features. The information is stored in text files, code details. The format of each line of the text as follows. Membership number is a 4-digit numeric string. Okay, ये सारी सी specifics हैं. करना क्या आगे जाके? प्रोग्राम कोड लिखना है. Should we do this in pseudocode or just हम skip कर दें because it's program code? क्या कहना है? Give me suggestions in the chat. क्या करना है? Do you want to do this or do you want to skip it? Because technically it is program code. Like, and we could try it in pseudocode as well. Yeah, move on. Okay, let's move on. Let's be हफ्ता बचा CS के test. Complete paper. Technically, Taki, if I don't do this question, then I'm not completing the paper per se. लेकिन चलो कर लेते हैं. तुम क्या देते हो? The following pseudocode includes references to a 1D array. Declare use the correct technical terms to explain the meaning of 1 and 5. What's again? No, we're not getting tested on Python code or Visual Basic at all. Visual Basic तो पहली बात हमने किया नहीं है, and Python is 8.2. The max code-ish thing that we can get is pseudocode. So yeah, all right. So 1 bracket 5. पहले तो it tells us, मैं jot notes में लिख रहा हूँ, I'm not gonna write in paragraph form, but your answer should be in paragraph form when you actually do this paper. Did you just do a complete paper? Well, not yet, बचा है, and I left out this question, but we are doing that complete paper. Inshallah हो जाएगा, अभी हो जाएगा, तो time नहीं हो जाएगा. Because we're gonna leave out this question. No, we aren't, because this is pseudocode. We're gonna leave out this question because it's also program code. तो हो जाएगा. Okay, it tells us that it's a 1D array. ये इसलिए क्योंकि there's only one set of numbers. 5 elements in a 1D array. You could think of it like that, but that's not a technical term. I guess you could say that elements is a technical term. Like in this specifically is 1, 5. It doesn't mean that there are 5 meaningful elements in an array, because this ये बस declaration भी हो सकती है. And then there's nothing valuable in the array. So for us, at that point, there will be no elements in the array, and we have to fill it ourselves. So this by itself doesn't mean 5 elements in the array. What it does mean is it's, first of all, it's a 1D array because there's only one set of numbers. If it was a 2D, it would be something like 1, 5, 1, 5, and this would be a 5 by 5 grid of, you can think of it like a 5 by 5 grid. Like it isn't. So it tells us that it's a 1D array. What you're saying 5 elements is the upper bound. So highest indexed, or if you want to get technical like the one test 2, you would say upper bound. The upper bound of this array is 5, and similarly the lowest index and the lower bound, technically speaking, is 1. So yeah, you're sure to get 2 marks if you do all of this. See, use the correct technical term. Technical term to वही है index. Whatever goes in the square brackets. So integer n. So n, whatever goes in the square bracket is an indexal array. So this is index. Yes, Arisha, you were right. Lower bound and upper bound. All right. A 2D array picture contains data representing a bit, ma'am. ये तुम लोग पढ़ लो पूरा. Well, I'm gonna annotate this. अगर मैं ये बोलूं कि ये I है और ये J है, तो this is I. ये पूरा जो column वाली चीज जा रही है, this is I. And this is J. So we look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. This is J. So yeah, this is a 2-dimensional array. Yes, we did. Because Sir Zan has, I think, picked up a lot of the questions, like paper 2 mein, he's chosen a lot of questions from recent past papers. So abhi jo humne 35 questions kiye the for homework. A lot of these are from like 2017, 2018 papers. Okay. Wait, so we did this, if we did this with Sir Zan, do you guys want me to do it again? Okay, I have homework mein likha hua hai, main bas chhap sakta hu. So the question is, should we do this again? Yes or no? In the chat, please. In other news, I got a beautiful organizer for my desk. It's like the vertical filer thing. Okay, so no, let's not do this question, and that means कि हमारा पेपर खत्म हो गया. चलो appendix पढ़ लो, तुम लोग को पढ़ना है तो, लेकिन इसके अलावा पेपर खत्म हो गया, because that last question is program code. 12 को खैर मुबारक तक की खैर मुबारक. No problem. अबे चुप. It's my right to say welcome. You're welcome, Riha. Okay. और मेरा वो भी खत्म